financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality, and it's Happy New Year, Brian.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jeff.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Pat.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jeff.
Happy New Year.
2024 is upon us.
Woohoo! A little crowded in the room today.
I thought it would be good to
nice.
have us all together. Too bad we couldn't get your daughter here. She would have some positive vibes to add.
Besides, she's a lot more interesting than you, to be
Oh,
quite
you know,
honest.
she
We should
really,
have Kelsey.
yeah.
We should have Jim. We should have Joe.
Joe,
Then we'd have
Kelsey.
everybody. We should have
Yeah,
everybody.
you know, at one time, but she's really excited. She's doing fantastic as the Lord. She's been out here, but she's buying her first house. She's facing the idea of paying for the stuff and mortgages and, you know, how to pay for the repairs and updates and how to invest. And she had some really good questions for you guys, and she loves the information. When she's here, she's asking you questions because she needs to know the answers. It's that important to her.
Yeah,
Well-
that whole new homeowner subject to, like, oh my God, I have to pay for a repair. That is an eye opener on any given home.
We picked names for presents, and I picked her new, you know, my new soon-to-be son-in-law. I think, oh man, I'm going to buy him some stuff for the house, right? Garage
Houses-
door.
Houses do have a way of keeping you busy.
Yeah, yeah.
And out of money.
And
Yeah.
dogs.
Dogs
Repair
too.
bills. And
Do you have dog insurance?
you know what?
Big article on dog insurance in the Consumer Report this month.
We don't, but their dog jumped the steps and he broke his leg, and it was like $5,000, and it was on my wife's watch, so we decided to pay for it. And I don't know if they ever got insurance afterwards.
My
but-
daughter had dog insurance on her two dogs. We've never had it on ours. I just had a $750 rule that I've always adopted.
Put them down if it's
Anything up to
$751.
$750, you're covered. Anything beyond that, it's
Oh yes, yeah.
And that's a heartwarming way to bring in the new
Nice.
year.
I'm gonna say, jeez.
Is that your kids as well?
Wow.
it hasn't
Your wife?
it hasn't really worked out for me very well because I've never said no. And nowadays, anything that needs to be done in the way of surgery, pulling their teeth, cleaning their teeth, is more than $750.
Be careful.
But I try,
Yeah.
and I still threaten the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that work out?
We
The
just
dog
did
loves me.
We just did a dog trust for a family, no kids, and left. They have about $3.5 million. We're leaving $500,000
For the
in
dog?
a trust for the dog to be taken care of for the rest of their lives. The dog.
Who's the trustee?
It's one of the
Pet Supply Plus?
No, it's one of the family members that's paying it for the other people.
The crime-fighting dog.
McGruff.
Big Ruff. That's interesting.
They get prime rib every night. The husband gets McDonald's. So the dogs
So everybody's
are cared
happy.
for.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he goes, man, that's it. The wife goes, you're right.
Can you borrow money from a dog?
No, that's what.
Sammy, can you loan me
That's what
20
those
bucks,
trusts
please?
are for. Because otherwise, they would just give the money to the nice lady who's taking
Who'd
care
take
of
the
the
money.
dog, and then you never
And the
know.
dog.
So.
So who's the ultimate beneficiary
Charities,
of the
dog charities.
Oh, nice. All
This
right,
is
so
spendthrift trust, so if the dog gets
Topic
goes
today.
gambling.
let's make 2024 our benchmark year. That's the game plan. So kind of consistent with what we were talking about with Kelsey is 3-point retirement plan. To me, that's the beginning of the benchmark. Own your home free and clear, zero debt, some cash in the bank. If you can get there, you are in a position of assured guaranteed retirement. I've given this extra thought this year because we've talked about it before, and this is the issue that comes up. Well, you can make if you've got a 3.5% mortgage and you can make 10, 12, 14% in the market, shouldn't you keep your mortgage, just make your payments and invest the money? A lot of people argue that. You're shaking your head, Pat.
Well, yeah, if you can make it, but you can also lose 20% in the market, and that's the trouble.
That,
Yeah.
and then I thought of another one.
Yeah.
If you adopt that approach, what you're doing in that situation is the pressure's off. You're just making your monthly payment. And then whatever extra is available, yes, maybe you're investing, but you're not really pushing for the savings side. Whereas
Yeah.
if you make a commitment that you want to get that house paid off early, soon, quick, this is how it worked for me. It became an obsession. And that every single time I had excess cash, I just threw it in as an extra principal payment. First, I wanted it paid off in 15 years. Then I said, I want it paid off in 12. Then I want it paid off in 10. Then I want it paid off in 5. I just kept rerunning the amortization schedule to see what I have to do. So by doing that, it got paid off quickly, and I was taking every penny extra I had, getting rid of the house. Whereas if I just kept going along at the 3% mortgage, I would have said, okay, so I got this, okay, so the kids want to buy a car, the kids want to do this, they want that. The money wouldn't have made it to savings that quickly.
Right.
Whereas once the house is paid off and there's no debt, then it's easy to save.
There was a big difference back then, though, that a lot of people would say, I'm not paying off the house mortgage, so I'm going to take a deduction on the mortgage. Now you don't have those deductions anymore, so there's no reason for that part of it.
Yeah, you don't even have the tax savings
The
there.
key, though, for all of it is discipline. You've got to have the discipline to live within your means and set goals to achieve owning your home free and clear, having money in the bank. And it starts, if you're a young person like your daughter,
Well, I got a
in
question.
avoiding getting into debt in the first
So
place.
here's the question that she
Very
had
true.
me ask. Should she put money into her savings account now for long term, or she pay down her 8% student loan? Saving or student loan? Smarty pants, what do you do there?
The hard question there is, do you think there'll be relief on the student loan? If the answer is no, and it's an 8% student loan, you should I say get it paid off.
I agree, but
Hold your thought.
Yeah.
So we can take a break, pay some bills, and then we'll come back.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
I was married for 57 years before my husband died.
Simasco Law had established a trust for them before this happened.
There's so much to do in the beginning, but after about a month, you're kind of alone.
We deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
If you continue to have good support and know that your finances and your estate is in order, that's one thing that's so comforting. I would just highly recommend some Masco Law.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
So your thought was what? 8% student loan, pay it off, don't pay it off?
So it depends on where you are in your student loan. If you're young and it's the beginning of your repayment, student loans work a little differently. They're front-loaded with interest, just like a mortgage is. So if you had the ability to pay off your principal as quickly as you could when you're young, it makes sense. If you've gotten older and you've been paying for years, and now you look at it and say, should I pay it off? You might not be accruing any more interest anymore, and now you're basically paying the principal.
You got me confused. Interest accrues on the
Now
balance outstanding.
they're front loaded on interest. They're a little weird, kind of like by the time
You mean
you're
like
you're
not on an amortization basis? They're front loaded more so than that? It doesn't.
no, it's on an amortization basis. But by
Well,
the time you get to be when you're 15 years into
Every
your student
loan is the same way.
Right.
On a
No,
mortgage.
no. Wait, stop. Without getting too deep in the weeds, most people don't have just a student loan. They have a student loan, they got mom's equity loan, they got credit card debt. Now what you just said before, if we think the federally student loans may be waived, focus on the credit card debt that paid to get you through the last term, and then your home equity, because we have a home equity loan with my daughter. So that's part of that
But
should
at the
pay.
bottom line is that if you, as a young person, if you can, before you even get into debt, other than your student loans, if you can live like a pauper for an extra couple of years and pay down those
Bang it
student loans
hard.
and bang them out, then you are in much better
Yeah.
shape for your
Yeah.
life than
Yeah,
you
because
are.
That's what I told her
There's-
too.
I'm confused on what you're saying with the interest. But if you have an 8% student loan, that interest is going to kill you unless you get it paid off. The sooner you get it paid off, then once you pay off a loan, then much greater portion of the payment goes to principal than interest.
And
at the
she's got
beginning.
plenty of time
You have to pay
Yeah.
for
extra
savings.
principal to get it
I mean,
paid
you want
off.
to save as early as possible. Very young, she has plenty of time, plenty of earning power,
Yeah.
and theoretically, her earnings will increase exponentially as time goes
Right,
on.
the problem, of course, is that as we become employed and we're young, and then our wants seem
It's
to
that
take
fancy
over our
purple
needs.
shirt.
And if we
Start
could,
getting stuff.
yeah, you start getting
Yeah,
accumulating
well, there's
stuff.
That's
two
called
things.
the house.
There's two aspects to that. The stuff that you get is, first there's the stuff that you want, and then before you've even acquired that stuff, all of a sudden you have children. And now besides the house, the biggest drain on your income is your children. Then comes your house, from the standpoint of just pummeling money into something.
I love my kids. I don't call them a drain.
Good point, good point. In terms of, but if you look at your finances, from the standpoint of your finances when you were single, to when you're married, to when you're empty nested. If you can find yourself in a position where you're empty nested, your children are grown, and that financial burden is behind you, and you still have 15 good years to work, those are the glory years where you can save and put money away, because your overhead is nothing compared to what it was when you had children. And the problem with some people, though, is they carry their children, they're paying expenses for their children up until 1 week before they retire. And they never have that opportunity to pack the money away.
How many
and
kids
save.
you got?
2.
How many kids you got?
2. My wife has 2, so we
Are
have
you
4.
still? Here's a question. They're all out of the house. Mine are out of the house. Are you still paying for it? Are you paying for their insurance or their
He's the wrong
their
one to
cell
ask. He's the
phone?
wrong one to ask.
I'm sure I
Okay.
am.
Cell
If you're
phone.
looking for an emotional hook, this is not where to go.
Yeah,
I'm sure I am.
I'm paying for the cell phone.
My daughter, my daughter Kelsey, I did say, and Brian offered that as soon as you get a little bit older, he wants to hire her here, and part of her signing bonus is that you guys are just paying off all of her student debt.
Ah.
So I said that was pretty nice.
It'd be super nice.
Extraordinarily nice.
But my kids are gone. I pay for things for my grandkids to help them relative to school related things. But that's on a voluntary basis.
You know, it's funny. Every one of those gifts that you made them, if you go in the nursing home in the next 5 years, they got to give it back. It's a gift for Medicaid purposes. They add up all.
I don't
those
have an
gifts.
appointment at the nursing home.
Yeah, no one else does either. Isn't that funny?
Good
Actually,
luck getting it.
We had the daughter.
actually, I should
Grandma,
probably be doing a 529 for that.
Grandma was paying for
Yeah, you should.
grandson's
For school.
high school monthly debt because it wasn't much, like $300 a month or something like that. And then Grandpa had to go to the nursing home. He had to pay all that back. And since the daughter couldn't pay it back because she financially couldn't do it, the other daughter had to come up with the money.
So
to pay
here's
it
the
back.
question: if I'm paying for it, am I paying for it or is Bonnie paying for it?
It doesn't matter. Married couple gifting
Same.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're giving money to the charities, to the grandkids. There's a presumption that gifting was done. You have to give it back within the next for 5 years.
So what are our biggest events of 2023? Looking back.
There's a ton of them.
I got a horrible one. My brother had that horrible stroke. 61, horrible stroke. He was in the same nursing home bed that my dad was in when he had his stroke at age 61.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's
That-
home now, thank God, but it's tough.
Well, yeah. I mean, personal stuff. My mom was hospitalized for a month in the ICU and stuff in the last
Yeah.
month and
How
stuff.
old's your mom?
88.
Knock on wood, I had a pretty easy year
How old?
personally.
88.
No big events. Nationally, what would you say is the biggest event? I would
Well,
say the
now
current
the
is
war.
Israel-Hamas war.
That followed up by the Russia-Ukraine war is actually pretty significant still.
Let's talk about that one for a second. Who knows what Congress is going to do, but Congress doesn't want to, certain elements of the GOP are saying we're not going to fund Ukraine unless we do something about the border. Why can't they reach a compromise on that? Maybe by the time, maybe they will. That doesn't, who is against doing something to support our problem at the border? Is there anyone who's against that?
But the problem is coming with what is the solution? Raising money for what? And that's what
Take
We
a
could
break.
build a
and
taller
take-
wall.
Take a break and we'll talk about that.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Simasko Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Simasko Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Simasko Law.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so just on the border, you were saying,
So
what to spend the money on?
theoretically,
the
raising money, fine. We all appreciate the problem. What are you spending money on? That's always been a problem. isn't
So we're lawyers. We settle cases all the time. We litigate. How many times do you settle a case with the other side where you get 100% of what you want, the other side just says, okay, whatever you want, Ken, that's what I'm going to give you for your client. My client gets nothing. There's never been a settlement like that. Why? So when you have a Republican and a Democrat, you have to meet in the middle. If you don't realize that that's the case, you should not be in the game.
It's a Republican.
That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest thing, is that those two people can't have a conversation, and most of the public can't
If
have that
Biden wants
conversation.
$84 billion or whatever for Ukraine, and the Republicans want $20 billion for a wall, and Biden, the administration, doesn't want it to go to the wall, just give it to them. Let them build their wall. You don't get your way. You got your $84 million or billion. They give them what they want. That's the only way we're going to get something done. You've got to compromise, and then when that isn't satisfactory down the road, you make a new compromise. It's not that complicated.
Well, but the problem is that they're not. We've lost the ability to govern in Congress, and it's all about position pieces for their base to maintain their election, and so they can stay their position.
But this is
true.
They're not
perfect.
actually
They
trying
don't
to
care.
accomplish
You're
it.
But this is
true.
perfect
You're
for
right.
your topic. Make 2024 a benchmark year, a year that Congress actually works together to solve problems. Who would ever think that could happen? Personally,
then-
it's not a chance in hell that's going to happen, but I'd
You're-
love to see it.
Yeah, I completely agree. You're right. That is exactly what their motivation is, but it's getting old for everybody.
Right.
We can't. How much? We're already invested in Ukraine. You can't abandon them.
The
And you
solution,
can't abandon them because it's the wrong thing to do.
the solution is to have every vote in Congress, every vote in Senate be private. We don't need to know how the vote is. If it were private, they wouldn't feel the pressures
could
of their
vote their
constituents. They could have real conversations, take real votes. They don't all feel
That's a
this
great
way,
idea.
but
I like
it's because
that. I've
they
never heard that. I
R
like
or the
that
D
idea.
on their name, and they feel pressured to have to toe the party line.
Just crazy. So what are our we always talk about resolutions on our New Year's show. Anyone? So what were the top ones? Were my top ones. Convince more people of the evils of credit card debt. Avoid political debate on social media. These were from last year. Learn how to cook other than sandwiches and burgers. Learn to buy low and sell high. Be patient with the stock market. Be compassionate and patient with others. Convince more people of the evils of credit card debt. That was 1 and 5. What did I succeed on? I think I did a pretty good job of talking about the credit card debt. I did a better job on avoiding political debate. I failed on cooking. I failed on learning to buy low and sell high. And you can get Brian to attest to the fact that I failed on being compassionate and patient with others.
Me and Jeff here came up with the 2024 resolutions to convince Ken to talk more about elder law and Social Security disability in the TV shows and less about credit card debt.
I adopt that as a 2024.
And a sprinkle of workers' compensation, too.
That will be a 2024 resolution, and when we get to the end of 2024, we can see whether I succeeded or failed on that one. So what else? Top resolutions for 2024: improve fitness, improve finances, improve mental health. Top 3. We always talk about some of the people that we lost last year. We'll show them on the screen, but some big names: Matthew Perry, Jimmy Buffett, Bob Barker, Tony Bennett, Alan Arkin.
No, I didn't hear he died.
Some of my
Norman Lear recently, Ryan O'Neal, Henry Kissinger.
Some of my favorite singers: Gordon Lightfoot, David Crosby.
I felt this
Mrs.
year, because I
Carter
always
just
go
died.
through that list.
And don't forget Dr. Henry Kissinger.
Just mentioned.
When I go through that list every year and do it, I'm always amazed at all the people that I forgot because they went earlier in the year. I felt, in some respects, this was a better year than normal of losing people that I really felt a close, celebrities that I don't know that I kind of felt a close bond to. But one thing I do realize is that as you get older and you look at the list, you go, wow, that guy's younger than me, that guy's younger than me, that guy's younger than me. That's a little scary. Final words, have a happy, healthy new year and a great 2024. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.